Let's talk about influencers going broke.
Okay, so I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed that there's a huge influx of broke ass influencers on TikTok that are begging for money, and some of them even being involved in scams. Yesterday, I saw this TikToker who had almost 1 million subscribers or followers, and she was involved in a GoFundMe scam, and the GoFundMe got shut down. And it's just like, the problem with so many of these TikTokers is that, or any influencer, is that they're living above their means. And something that my grandma taught me as a kid that I'll never forget is she said, if you cannot buy something with cash in hand right now, then you cannot afford it. If the money isn't in your checking account right now, the full amount, you can't afford it. And it's like,
I want to add that this is something that's very common. We often plan what we're going to do with the money, and sometimes we even make that purchase in advance, maybe like on a credit card, and then something happens and we don't get as much money as we thought we were going to get, or we don't get the money that we were planning on getting, and now we have incurred debt because we were spending money that we don't even have. And that is such a dangerous financial practice, and that alone can put you in so much debt and just let things spiral out of control in your financial life. So you should never spend money that you don't have. You can plan for it so you know what you're going to do if and when you get the money, but you should never actually go ahead and make purchases because you are promised money, even if it's money from a job. Don't spend money that you don't actually have in your hand or in your bank account.
I've seen so many scandals over the years of influencers, from YouTube or any, community that have gone broke because they start to live above their means. And you should never live above your means in life if you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Like, let's say an influencer makes $40,000 in, their first big payout month, right? And it starts to become consistent. Okay, great. But then they decide they want to go rent or lease an LA mansion for $15,000 a month, right? And just because they were making $40,000 a month consistently for a while, it doesn't mean that money is going to stay, because life works in ebb and flows. Life works in patterns. It has ups and downs, ups and downs, and ups and downs. So learn firsthand from these influencers. Definitely do not live above your needs. Have a goal in life, a goal you want to meet of the life you want to live, and then take actionable and reasonable steps to get there. It's like I said with the house example, a lot of these influencers, right, the money comes in, but they're taking too large of a leap. Like my grandma said, if you cannot buy it in cash, in full, you cannot afford it.
That's actually so true. And let's talk about lifestyle inflation. So that was pretty much the example that he was giving about the house. Let's say that you get a raise from your job. If you then go buy a new car, you start shopping at a more expensive grocery store, you change apartments, that's more expensive. You want to live the city life, you want to go out more often because after all, you're getting more money. You're going to end up feeling like you're living paycheck to paycheck, even though you're making more, because you have now inflated your lifestyle. So that's why it's called lifestyle inflation. And I think the best approach when you get a raise, when you get extra money, is to stay at where you were before you started making more money. And the saying is actually very true. If you cannot afford to buy it cash, it means you cannot afford it. If you can afford to make payments on something, it still doesn't mean you can afford it. The fact that you have to make payments means you have to take out some form of debt in order to afford the thing. It doesn't mean that I think that a mortgage is a bad idea or a car note is a bad idea, but if you can only afford to make the payments, it means you cannot afford it, and you need to look at your overall finances and see what decisions you're making so that you don't end up making more money and you're living paycheck to paycheck. And I think that's what a lot of the influencers do. They start to make the influencer money, they start to charge big money, they're working with big brands, they're going on brand trips, and they're getting brand deals left, right, and center. and then they want to move to the luxury apartments. They want to be on vacation every 2 weeks. They're gone to the islands, and that is content for them. And so I understand that that's the kind of lifestyle they're trying to bring across to their audience in exchange for money and more brand deals. But after a certain point, it gets to where you are making bad financial decisions because a brand deal might not come in. A brand deal might fall through, and you don't want to end up buying the luxury things, paying for the luxury vacations, hoping that you were going to get some brand deals to bring you over into the next month, and then those fall through.
Controversial opinion, but I think that most influencers are going to end up going broke, and I'm going to explain to you why I know this. I'm saying most, not all. Just keep that in mind. It's pretty comparable to being an athlete, a famous athlete. Just keep that in mind while I'm speaking. Because we have real stats from athletes. We don't have as many stats from influencers. I went to an event 7 years ago, and this lives just rent free in my mind. It was hosted by a popular Instagrammer called The Fat Jewish. And if you don't know who that is, then I think it just kind of further proves the point. And at this event, he explained that what happens to famous people is one of two things. Either your platform is fleeting, so think like eventually in sports, like you retire or you might get an injury, but like think of for influencers like Vine, that what happened to Vine, or TikTok potentially getting banned in the US. The other thing is that you might be fleeting. Hey, you might get canceled. You might not want to do this forever. You might retire. You might not want to make YouTube videos for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
So one of those two things can happen to you or will happen to you, which brings me to my second point. How many influencers do you know or athletes do you know that have really stayed relevant long term? It's a very small proportion of them, right? If you think of someone like in athletics that's still famous, they're probably doing something to keep themselves relevant. Like if we think of Shaq went and did like a billion different things to stay relevant. But that's not every athlete that you can think of. It's not every person that's ever been on a sports team. It's a very small number. And that's why I say I think most influencers will. It ties into my third point. What did Shaq do differently that kept him relevant versus any other athlete? And how you as an influencer can do something different. The Fat Jewish at this event spoke about how it's so important to build other streams of income because he knew he wouldn't stay relevant forever, whether it's because of the platform shutting down or him just not wanting to do it. He built all these different income streams, which is something that Shaq did as well. Shaq owns like a bunch of restaurants and does all kinds of different things to keep that income coming. When you get a lot of money coming towards you, whether it's working your 9 to 5, whether it's being a famous athlete or an influencer, it's very common that something occurs called lifestyle upgrade. That's where you start getting the G classes, the mansions. You upgrade your car, you upgrade your apartment, you upgrade your wardrobe, you upgrade all these different things. No matter what the scale is, you're upgrading. But when you upgrade like that, you're setting a certain standard for yourself, which means that you're either change your desk to continue working your 9 to 5, or that like 67%, I think it is, of NBA players that retire within 2 years go broke because you weren't managing your money well along the way. You were expecting these certain calibers of lifestyle, but you weren't investing money to make sure that that stayed with you long term. And that's why if I was an athlete or if I was an influencer, if I was any of these things, I'd be making sure to have like a panel of people helping me manage my money if I didn't know what I was doing, and be investing like over 80% of my income because I know in my head that this is fleeting. That's why I think most people will end up going broke because they're not doing it.
That is very true. If these influencers are only depending on brand deals and ads from like YouTube or getting payment through TikTok, Creator Fund, they're going to end up either irrelevant or just completely going broke because they're trying to keep up with the next thing. And that's one of the things with content creation and like influencing as a job. You are going to have to pivot so much because if a new social media comes out, you're going to have to try to see should you join it because TikTok wasn't around 10 years ago. And the people who were on Vine, people who were on MySpace, there was one time that Facebook was popping off, and now nobody really uses Facebook. I mean, who do you know that uses Facebook every day? Like our parents. Our parents and grandparents are on Facebook. So we have to understand that and influencing is just a job, but it is a job that's going to require you to pivot. It's going to require you to have to stay relevant. And many of these influencers, they do things to always be relevant. So you will see that an influencer is just taking brand deals here, there, and everywhere because they understand that they need to take up every opportunity that they can get because their income depends on the opportunities that they accept. And one influencer that I think does this really well is Jackie Aina. She popped off from YouTube. I knew Jackie Aina from way, way back when I was a teen and I was watching makeup YouTube videos. Jackie Aina now she doesn't even have to make videos to make money. She has a perfume collection. She has a candle collection. She is doing other things outside of just sitting down and making beauty videos, which is lucrative, but you have to think long term. And content creation for everyone, sadly, is not going to be long term. So if you are able to branch out and have some businesses that maybe are spin off to your original content, that is definitely what you should do instead of depending on views and brand deals to make money because one day you're not going to be making as much money as you think, or maybe a platform is going to shut down and that was where you made most of your money from. And then what's next? So I think many influencers, they just don't think about what's next because they're so caught up in the moment and they just think that everything is going to go well for them forever. And that's just really not, not how life is.
A very general breakdown of how an influencer might make their income. I would say for the typical influencer, three main sources of income go as follows. Brand partnerships. This point, most people know what brand partnerships are. You see them all over your FYP, you see them on your Instagram feed, you get it. Any money they make off posting on social media platforms, and creators who go viral with every video they post can make a ton of money off of this. I personally don't make a lot of money through these. And the third one is commission links. So like Amazon storefronts, like Shinoads. So I'll be transparent, I barely make anything off commission links. Someone like Alex Earl who can sell anything, she probably makes bank in just her Amazon storefront alone. Like I said, this is very general. There are plenty of other ways you can make money as an influencer. I just find these three most common. Okay, so after all these three things, let's say an influencer grosses $200,000. This is a completely random number. There are some influencers who would never make this in a year, and there are some who make this in one brand deal. Then we have our influencer expenses or their write-offs. Those influencers have a talent manager. Not every influencer, but a lot of us do. You don't pay the talent manager directly usually. They just get 15 to 20% of each brand deal we do. I have heard that some crazy talent managers try to take a portion of your creator fund money and your commission link money. That's not the case with mine. So yeah, say you did $180,000 in brand deals, 30,000 of that is in your manager. And you have business expenses because technically being an influencer is literally running your own business. This could be any equipment you buy. So maybe you buy a really nice camera, a really nice tripod, your phone bill because you need a phone to do this job, certain transportation costs, certain meal costs. We'll say that totals up to $20,000 in a year. Your net income as an influencer might now be $150,000. So this is what you get taxed on. You don't pay taxes on this $50,000 because you had to spend $50,000 to make $200,000. For taxes, I just did 20% of $150,000. Once again, totally random number. That could be way more, way less, depending on where you live, how many family members you have as dependents. So after all of that, this influencer clears $120,000. And of course, remember, you still have life bills that any human being has: your rent, your gas, your insurance, your student loans. Like I said, that is a very general overview of the ins and outs of how influencers make money.
And this is another thing that I think regular non-influencer, non-creator people should be aware of. All these influencers that keep pushing products on you and they have a link and they have a code, that's how they're making money. And so I think we should take an influencer's opinion or their point of view on a product or a service with a grain of salt. Just as if a stranger had told you, because they are strangers. No matter how many years you've been watching this person, they are strangers to you, and that is how they make money. If they're using this skincare product that they swore changed their skin and they are just glowing, and they have only used this product for like a week, but they have an affiliate link to that product, or they have a code for you to get a certain percent off of that product, do you really think that that's someone that you should be listening to? I'm not knocking their hustle at all. I get it. I understand it. I'm on the internet. I know how it goes. But as regular people who are not influencers, you should understand how these influencers make money so you don't fall prey to their scams. Because some of them are scammers, sadly. And again, it could just be out of desperation because they know that if they don't make that money, they don't make that money. It's like a sales job where it's just commission only. If you don't sell that car, you don't make your money. So I'm going to tell you all the amazing things about this car and how it's the best car for you and your family. Even though I know that after a year, this car is going to break down on you and you're going to need a new car, or this car has the worst resale value, or something else. This is a sales position. That is what influencing is. They are selling you products and they are selling you a lifestyle. They are selling you a dream that sometimes, even in their case, isn't real because they are renting private jets, like a photo shoot set that they're in a private jet. So you would think, wow, like this person, she's on a private jet, she's drinking champagne, but she's just in a studio somewhere making the content because it sells you a dream for you to perceive them in a certain way, for you to buy their course, buy their ebook, shop from their affiliate link, shop from their storefront. And so I think a re-education just needs to happen overall in terms of influencing. Sadly, I don't think that's actually going to happen. Things are just gonna continue. And if you get caught up in a scam, you're just gonna get caught up in a scam. But I think we should be aware of how influencers make money so we can be cautious when taking their advice. And I think influencers really need to look into how they're making money so they can have financial security for their future and so that they really can not do these unethical things to make money.
I'm going to spill the tea on what some influencers are charging for TikTok videos. So I've got a cosmetics brand called Remove and I have these beautiful lip combos. But my issue is that the whole website, all of the advertising has basically just been my face, and I've just been really wanting to get other beautiful girls that love makeup in my lip combos that can feel really quality content online. So I thought I'm going to reach out to a bunch of TikToks and just see what they would charge for content. So I'm going to read out some quotes that I've had from 5 different people that I've reached out to. I have reached out to about 15 to 20. So let's start with number 5. This person has 151,000 TikTok followers. Average views are from about 4,000 to 150,000 views. And the price I got for this was 250 to 320 Australian for a TikTok video and users' rights for ads. Moving on to number 4, 44,000 TikTok followers. Average views is just from what I scrolled that I can kind of see them ranging generally through was 3,000 to 20,000 views. This person charges $3,029 Australian for one TikTok video that is only going to be on their TikTok for 30 days, or $8,000 is for users' rights for 1 year to use the video for advertising and to have a TikTok video on their platform as well. Moving to number 3, this person has 92,800 TikTok followers. The average views are from 6,000 to 15,000 views, and they want to charge $4,543. Also, I have been an influencer before. I am aware that it's a lot of time and creation that goes into content creation. Moving to number 2, this person has 1.7 million TikTok followers. The average views are from 200,000 to 1.5 million. And the price that I got quoted for this was $13,311.55 Australian for a TikTok video. I was looking at it and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. But when you think about it, if I was to get about 200 sales of a lip combo, it would probably cover that cost and then hopefully have extras on the top. But you never know, it's a bit of a gamble if you're going to pay. Number 1 is probably the most expensive that I've been quoted so far. So this person has 870,000 TikTok followers. The average views are from 25,000 to 300,000 views, and they want to charge $20,000 to $30,000 US for one TikTok video, which I feel like the person that came in at number 2 would be able to generate more sales than 1.6 billion. I am going to be working with some influencers because I want to get other people in my products. If you or somebody you know really enjoys this content, I am definitely still on the hunt for people to get content in Remove the combos.
As you can see, influencers are charging money. And granted, I know how long it takes to make content. I understand the process of making content. And I understand that you build an audience over a long period of time. And so you deserve to charge for putting something in front of an audience that you took time and effort to build. But some of those prices, like, If you're not getting views, you're not getting engagements, you're not getting interactions, but you have a large following, as a business owner, I don't see how I'm going to get my return on investment if I'm going to pay you so much money to do one video. It's just not worth it from a business perspective to pay an influencer who isn't really getting a lot of views. If they're getting a lot of views, a lot of engagements, like natural organic engagement where people are actually commenting, liking, sharing their products, I will absolutely pay money to put my product in front of their audience. And so just bear in mind, influencers are making a lot of money from even just one video. And sometimes the brand will come back, and sometimes they will have a series of videos for that brand, or that brand will just be like they're just the face of that brand. They're just a brand ambassador for however long. So again, take their recommendations with a grain of salt because they are getting paid a lot of money to push these products in front of your face, but also as an influencer, have a backup plan.
Let's just be transparent. How much I get paid from TikTok in the creative one? That's how much I made in the last 30 days. I want to start out by saying that it's not usually that high. It's usually between, I want to say 5 and 8. Because right that day I had a viral video, okay? I don't bank on it. I don't plan it. That shit just happens sometimes. But let's talk about it because I always see other people talking about how much content creators make. And I never see full like actual content creators talking about it. So that is how many views I got to make that much money in 30 days. That doesn't mean I'm gonna get paid that next month, by the way. That's just how much I've made in the last 30 days. So if in the next 15 days before the month ends, I make like nothing, then that's probably going to end up being like $5,000. Does that make sense? That's an RPM. That means I get paid that much per 1,000 views. I also want to make this video because I feel like there's some people who want to be content creators or ask me for tips and they don't know about this. So I just want to let you know. I also love finding smaller creators. If you've been thinking about it, just know there are other people out there who like want to discover smaller creators. And if you feel like what's stopping you is thinking like, oh, I'm too boring, like I don't have anything to like show or do, people like watching people do nothing. I like watching girls sit and drink their coffee and talk about some random gossip. Like people still like that. Like, there's still a place for that. I think my 3 tips are: one, this is the hardest, but honestly, consistency. Like if you can find something that you're able to do once or twice a day and keep up with it without being burnt out, that is huge. Like I really think it's huge. People love to see, like they don't want someone flaky, you know what I mean? And I've been flaky before. Trust me, people like that. That's not what they're here for, unless you're like a nepo baby or like dating a celebrity like that. I think biggest tip is honestly fuck filter. Like say what you're thinking, like the thoughts that you're like, oh, I'm confident. Like maybe like, well, I'm gonna be like pretty cool about it, not say that. Say it anyway. We don't care about people who want to be cool. You know what I mean? You have to be a little bit cringy to have subtraction. Sounds like it should be easy, but sometimes it's hard to like let yourself have no filter. So my biggest tip for that is pretend the camera is your best friend. Like pretend the camera is someone you're so comfortable around. Like that's literally what I do. Like I pretend I FaceTime my best friend. That's like a comment reply, the video reply. But I literally am just like, okay, because I know I'll say most unhinged shit to my best friend and it'll be like the truest version of myself. And that is what people want to see. Third tip is to honestly like engage with the people who watch your videos back. Like they are engaging with your videos. They're watching them, they're liking them, they're commenting. Like the least you can do is engage back. Don't forget that the people who are watching your videos are often like your peers, like the people around your age, maybe younger, maybe older. If you see a comment and it's a question you can answer, reply back. Like talk to people, keep your messages open, that type of thing. Like it's really important. Like if you want to start being like a content creator, you actually have to care about people who are watching your videos. So if you're not taking an interest in what they're commenting or their opinions or what they have to say, then I feel like there's not really a point.
She has made over $10,000 in the past 30 days. And this is why I'm gonna say I really do recommend content creation as a side hustle, and I recommend content creation as a way to get out of a 9 to 5. Just to be strategic and be smart with your money.
Here's how much I get paid on every social media platform with 21 million followers. TikTok, I have 9.2 million followers, and my lifetime total is 542 million views. Right here, you can see that I make less than $1 a day, and since I started posting 2 years ago, I've made a total of $5,756. But wait until I show you how that compares to YouTube. Facebook. I've been posting on Facebook for almost 2 years and now have 4.5 million followers. The cool thing is the videos I post on Facebook are the exact same ones I already made for TikTok. So there's no extra work besides hitting upload. In my best month on Facebook, I made over $2,600. And in my worst month, which was last month, I made $23. Facebook has paid me a total of $20,251. Instagram, I have 5.3 million followers and my videos have gotten hundreds of millions of views. But I've actually made $0 because Instagram doesn't pay its creators for videos anymore. YouTube, I have 2 million subscribers and my videos have gotten 273 million views total. Now, YouTube pays way more for long videos than it does for shorts. This short 48-second video got 4.1 million views and I made $106 from it. But for this 12-minute video, which got fewer views, YouTube paid me $45,000. The most I've ever made in a single day from YouTube was $1,620. My grand total earnings from YouTube, and remember this is all before taxes, is $353,000. I love transparency around money. Follow for more money content.
So yeah, if an influencer is not careful, they can definitely go broke. So if you are into influencing, be smart with your money. And also for people who are not influencers, just be wary that most of what influencers do, they're doing it for money. So take their recommendations with a grain of salt, do your own research, and make good financial choices. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.